Breaking news, the social media undisputed champion responded to Canelo Alvarez stating, "Focus on your career, win a world title first, then talk about other people, because you have accomplished nothing." Matter of fact, to put things in perspective, before we get into what Ryan Garcia said, just to fill you guys in first, here is exactly what Canelo Alvarez said.
I have to tell you, we spoke to Ryan Garcia a few days ago, and we asked him about this fight. And he says he has an idea, and he has a feeling that Triple G is going to win this fight. What's your opinion on that?
He's just mad for something. He's no more in the team. He's always going to be versus us, no matter what. But he's a little kid. You need to understand him. He needs to learn a lot of things. But my advice for him, just do your job, focus on your career, win a world champion first, then talk about other people. You accomplish nothing, right? And you start talking about fighters who has accomplished a lot. When I was 20 years old, I'm being a world champion.
Yeah.
So
like calling out Gervonta Davis and stuff. Do you think he can beat Gervonta?
No, you can call out everybody and say and talk and everything, but at the end of the day, you're doing nothing.
That's when Ryan Garcia responded to Canelo Alvarez accomplishing becoming a world champion at 20 by stating, quote, "I have a lot of good people in my division. I can't pick a Matthew Hatton and become a champion. I have to fight great fighters. I don't mind that he fought Matthew Hatton. I'm just saying, you see the level. When I get my first chance, most likely it will be against Gervonta Davis. You tell me what's worth more. A world champion against Gervonta Davis or a world champion against Matthew Hatton? He fought for a vacant title against Matthew Hatton, and that's the truth." End of the quote. In addition to that, Matthew Hatton wasn't even ranked at 147 nor at 154. He was not ranked on the top 10. Matter of fact, to make matters worse, Matthew Hatton wasn't even fighting at 154. He was a 147-pounder. On the other hand, Canelo Alvarez was actually a 154-pounder who was ranked at number 4 on the WBC, which makes no sense whatsoever how a fighter that's ranked under the WBC at number 4 in Canelo Alvarez ends up fighting a fighter that's not even ranked at 154 nor at 147 for a vacant title at 154. Only the WBC, the World Boxing Corruption Organization, that allows this type of corruption. Pretty much, Canelo Alvarez was given a world title. He did not earn it, nor fought anyone that was ranked for it, which is the definition of an email champion. For the people that's not informed, the way it works in the sport of boxing and other sports, when a title go vacant, that's when the number 1 contender ends up fighting the number 2 contender within that organization. But apparently, the rules do not apply to Canelo Alvarez since he has the complexion for the connection. That's why when the WBC gave Canelo Alvarez the vacant world title to fight a nobody for it, Marquez ended up suing the WBC for that type of corruption.
He's like, at 20, I was a world champion. He fought a vacant title with Matthew Hatton. That's just the truth. And I'm here, I just have a lot of good people in my division. I can't pick a Matthew Hatton and become a champion. I have to fight great fighters. It is what it is.
Therefore, hate it or love it, Ryan Garcia is totally right here. In fact, if Canelo Alvarez was in Ryan Garcia's position, meaning if he was in Ryan Garcia's shoes, fighting at 135, then Canelo Alvarez will duck every single soul, every single champion from Devin Haney to Gervonta to Lomachenko to even Pitbull Cruz. Canelo Alvarez will never fight any of these guys. And for the people that's gonna say, "Oh, Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather." First of all, that don't count because that was a win-win situation. Floyd Mayweather was the biggest pay-per-view star of all time. So all roads was leading to him. And even though Canelo lost every single minute of every single round in that fight, Canelo to this day is famously known for losing to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather made Canelo Alvarez famous. Literally, Canelo ticket to the Hall of Fame is getting smashed by Floyd Mayweather. And that's what I mean, a win-win situation. Even in a loss, Canelo stands to win more in terms of fame if he went without fighting Floyd Mayweather. Plus, Floyd Mayweather was 36 years old. He was a small Floyd, moving up to his fifth weight division where Canelo outweighed him 20 pounds. Therefore, Canelo knew, unlike Pretty Boy, who was going to completely knock him out if he would have fought that version, a fighter his own size. But when it came to a 36 years old Money Mayweather moving up to his fifth weight division, Canelo thought to himself, worst case scenario, I get completely schooled and become famous. Furthermore, dialing back to what Ryan Garcia said, the reality is, and the facts are, Canelo Alvarez never fought a legit champion in his natural weight class and beat him till he actually was 27 years old when he fought Gennady Golovkin. And even then, he had to take steroids to get the job done. See, what most people fail to realize is that Canelo Alvarez's entire career is nowhere near as good as advertised. Canelo has not been making history. He's been making up history from the time where he fought Matthew Hatton for the vacant WBC belt at 154, a fighter that was not a 154-pounder, better yet, a fighter that was not even ranked at 154 nor at 147. Then Canelo Alvarez fought Austin Trout, a good fighter. However, he was not a champion. Austin Trout only had the WBA regular title, which is the interim title, aka a mandatory title. Then he fought Floyd Mayweather for the WBA super title. However, obviously, Canelo Alvarez got smashed. He did not win it. 2 years later, Canelo Alvarez fought Miguel Cotto for the middleweight WBC title. However, he fought Miguel Cotto at 155 catchweight, 5 pounds below middleweight, and 1 pound over light middleweight. That's when that weight became famously known as Canelo's weight, where Canelo Alvarez made up a weight class. That's when Canelo Alvarez ended up vacating his WBC title because the WBC ordered him to fight Gennady Golovkin. That's when Canelo Alvarez moved back down. Not a full weight division, absolutely not. But that's when Canelo moved back down 1 pound, back to 154, from the Canelo weight, 155 pounds, where he ended up fighting Liam Smith for the WBO title, a vacant title that Liam Smith ended up winning after Demetrius Andrade vacated the title. Now keep in mind, Canelo Alvarez was Demetrius Andrade mandatory for years. However, he turned down the opportunities on multiple occasions. But as soon as Demetrius Andrade vacated the title, that's when Canelo Alvarez requested to fight Liam Smith and was really interested in the WBO title. But when Demetrius Andrade had it, he was not interested at all. What a coincidence. A year later, Canelo Alvarez ended up fighting Gennady Golovkin at middleweight. However, he did not win the fight. It was a draw. Then a year later, he tested positive for PEDs leading up to the rematch. But he did manage to beat Gennady Golovkin in a very, very close fight. However, even after that, he fought Rocky Fielding at 168 for the regular WBA title, aka the interim title. So in our reality, Gennady Golovkin rematch was the first legit champion that Canelo Alvarez beat, where he was 27 years old by then. Therefore, Canelo Alvarez has no right to tell Ryan Garcia, you have accomplished nothing, because Canelo is not leading by example. He only laid out a duck prank for Ryan Garcia to follow. That's it, that's all. And last but not least, I have bad news for Ryan. He said that, look at me, the champion that I pretend that I want to fight while telling Oscar De La Hoya to hold me back so I can milk the cow when it comes to clout chasing is Gervonta Tank Davis. Well, first of all, if Ryan fights Gervonta, it doesn't matter if he's fighting him for a title or not. But the facts are, Gervonta Davis is not a champion at 135. He only has the WBA regular title, which, like I said before, that's the interim title, aka Gervonta is Devin Haney mandatory, who is the undisputed champion at the lightweight division, the first undisputed lightweight champion in the Four Belts era, and the last undisputed champion in the lightweight division since Pernell Whitaker. Therefore, if Ryan wants to make history, if Ryan wants to become a champion, then he has to see Devin Haney after Gervonta. That's if he's successful. And that's a big-ass fat if. Excuse my French. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace. And I'm on to the next one.